Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar. My name is Associate Professor Dr. Swaya Hassan and I'm the Head of Graduate Studies at Institute of Graduate Studies UiTM. So I'll be your host for today's webinar. So today's webinar is tips for successful conversion from Masters to PhD. We are indeed fortunate to have a very special guest with us whom we will have the opportunity to hear invaluable insight into the conversion from Masters to PhD. So more specifically, our guest will explain the examination process and the assessment involved, and later, inshallah, he will share with us some useful tips to guide you through this conversion process. It now gives me a great pleasure to introduce our guest. He is Professor Insinyur Dr. Jamaluddin Mahmud. Prof. Insinyur Dr. Jamaluddin is a professor at the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, University Technology Mara. He has a PhD in Biomechanical Engineering from Cardiff University, United Kingdom, Bachelor of Science in Manufacturing Engineering from the International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, and Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering from UiTM. In UiTM, he has served at various management levels such as Deputy Dean, Head of Academic Programs, and Head of Industry Linkages at the Chancellery Office of Industry, Community and Alumni Network. His expertise and vast experiences have been instrumental in him being appointed as a judge in design competitions, as an external examiner, keynote speaker, visiting researcher, and member of various technical committees at national and international levels. So some information on his own PhD journey. Prof. Jamal managed to complete his PhD in less than 3 years. Since then, he has published more than 150 technical papers and has regularly been invited to share his experience in conferences and seminars, specifically for postgraduate students. At the recent Anugerah Academic University Technology Mara in year 2020, Prof. Jamal was awarded the Anugerah Penyelidik Terbaik for year 2019. So this is an amazing achievement. So given his remarkable background, we are indeed very lucky to have Prof. Jamal here with us today to provide us with some insight into the successful conversion from Masters to PhD. I'm confident that what he will share with us today is going to be extremely beneficial to all, especially those contemplating such a conversion. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions, please type them into your chat box in your control panel. So inshallah, I will help to bring them up later during the Q&A session. All right, now without further ado, let us welcome Prof. Jamal. So over to you, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lily. So I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, my slides. Late. Okay. So could you see my slides?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the untitled what I'm going to talk today. So thank you, Dr. Lily, for introducing me, and thank you to ISIS also for this opportunity for inviting me to this talk. So for the next about 1 hour, 1.25 hours, I'm going to talk about this master's conversion to PhD. Basically, it's not not trying to teach here. Basically, I'm just trying to share my experience. Okay? So before we start, I always like to share the slides. And this is the second slides. It's talking about basically when anything happen, if you look it from different angle, okay, sometimes both of you and me will be right, except that we see things differently from the different direction. So what I'm trying to highlight here is that kita kena berlapang dada, and we agree to disagree. So as I mentioned again, my role here is not to teach you, just to share my experience. So this is the presentation outline. Basically, I'm going to talk about myself, and then talk about PhD and GOT, and then I'm going to talk about conversion, the timeline, planning, and finally some information about the available funding. Okay, this is about myself. Basically, I'm now is a professor in computation mechanics. I am the chief editor of the JMechI UiTM Scopus Index Journal. In terms of my experience, at the moment I have graduated 11 postgraduate student by research. So PhD 5 and Master 6, and this 4 is actually from mixed mode. Mixed mode we have also research. So I have graduated 4. And in terms of Viva chair, I think I have chairing more than 20. In terms of thesis examine for PhD, I have evaluated more than 20. I also had the opportunity to evaluate one thesis from India, Karunia Institute of Technology. When I ask people what do you think about the PhD graduate from Karunia Institute of Technology, people will not think that they will produce such a good student, but the one that I evaluated the thesis already have a very good publication in Q1 and Q2, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is GOT, graduate on time. Is it impossible? Well, during my time, when I started doing my PhD, this is the thesis title, my PhD, I did at Cardiff University. When I arrived there, yes, it was like quite impossible. Track record of Malaysians, I think the one who's married, not bachelor, I'm the only one who graduated less than 3 years. Before that, there's one bachelor. And then in terms of my groups, Institute of Medical Engineering and Medical Physics, even the locals, the earliest they submitted their thesis is 3.5 years. Most of them graduated, submit their thesis within 4 years. So I managed to submit my thesis within 3 years. So this is Cardiff School of Engineering. Opposite there is the city centre at Cardiff City, city of Cardiff. And we are not in the main campus. So this is my main supervisor, Prof. Katie, and this is my co-supervisor. So when I registered, both of them were just senior lecturer at their early 40s. I started my PhD at the age of 35. So we are not much our gap in age. So during my Viva, this is my external examiner, Prof. Dan Bader. He's ex-Oxford. He worked with Oxford before he moved to Queen Mary College, London. And this is my internal examiner, Prof. Karen, who is a top 50 women listed in engineering list. And then this is the Viva chair. Viva chair is Prof. Len Notes. So this is the chronology of my PhD journey. So I got my date, study leave since 14 January. But then Bendahari called me, there's no flight ticket. So I flew to Cardiff on the 27 January. And then I submitted my thesis is November, and then after about 1 month plus, then I attended my Viva. So if you look at my Viva, it's 21st of December. It's just 4 days before Christmas. So basically, I'm the one, the last person to have a Viva during that year. And after that, the school closed for a few weeks to celebrate Christmas and New Year. Okay, and during my Viva also, I brought one of my publication. This is Journal of Biomechanics. At that time, there's not yet popular, being ranked like Q1 or Q2. It's just that we call it like a flagship journal. So a few journals, if you're doing your PhD in biomechanics, if you manage to publish in that journal, so people will know that your work is enough, been accepted, peer-reviewed, accepted to PhD level. So these are the examples of PhD graduate, my own. So this is my first PhD graduate, Dr. Fazli. If you look here, well, he did not manage to complete his PhD in 4 years, not GOT. But as time flew, then we have the second my PhD graduate, Dr. Gazira. Her performance, I think, as time flies, so I got more experience, so there we can manage to publish into a better publication. And also Dr. Gazira is very active in participating in IID, so if we even won 1 gold medal from ICANN Canada. So this is the most recent 3-1. So this is Dr. Fuad. So he did not convert. He's not a converted student, but he registered his PhD in 2015, and then he submitted his thesis in 22nd of 10. If you look the time duration there, he only missed a few, 5 weeks. If he submitted 2 months earlier, then he will be able to get APC. But still, due to time duration, he managed to complete everything, even the Senate, in 4 years. So he got the GOT award. So this is his output, his publications. And then he also attended this IID, and then he won. He won a Diamond Award. So the issue now, specifically for today, convert and graduate. Is it impossible to convert and graduate? We have a track record. So this is Dr. Azizul. Dr. Azizul Hakim Samsudin, right after he graduated his undergraduate, and then he registered as a master's, and then he converted to a PhD, and then he submitted his thesis in 2018. So when he graduated, he got his PhD at the age of 28 years. Okay, the only reason I think he did not get the GOT is just because of he got married. He got married. So when he got married, I think a few months before the marriage, he's quite busy preparing that, and then after that, so that is some focus. We'll discuss about this later, but still his output is good. He has few publications, and then he also has IP and joined IID and got gold award as well. And then wherever possible, it is an opportunity, so you can send, you can apply to go to Japan for research attachment, like for 1 or 2 weeks, and also industry if you like. Now convert and APC. APC means you submit your thesis before 3 years. You submit your thesis before 3 years and everything completed within 4 years. So I have one track record. This is Dr. Siti Humairah. So right after she graduated from the undergraduate, she registered the master's, and then we proceed with the process for upgrading, and then she submitted her thesis 24/7 2018. So if you can look there, she's about 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, she that less than 3 years. She submitted her thesis, and she got her APC lah. Due to that, she won. Then when you got the APC award, you will wear this, the serempang, and she got her PhD at the 27 years. So this is so much better than me. I started my PhD at the age of 35, and I graduated at the age of 38. So 38. Now you can imagine, if you convert, you can get your PhD at the before 30s, and that will be a good start. So I think your career, or the sky is the limit. Once you got your PhD early, then you can focus on your career development. So she managed to publish, accepted during her viva, is accepted, not published, in a Q2 paper and a few WOS and ISI publication as well. And also she competed in the IID award. She got a few gold award, and then also she quite active in exposition, and also she has an IP and product. And in convocation 2019, this is the hooding ceremony in 2019. Okay, all of them plus these three, as me as main, and also I have one co-supervisor, one student graduated. I'm the co-supervisor, so this 3 plus 1. So due to them, alhamdulillah, I've been awarded with this Anugerah Academic University 2019. Jadi dia hard work and I got recognized for that, alhamdulillah. Now our main reference, when we talk about UiTM, we are the student of UiTM. The main reference document is always the IPSIS. Okay, so alhamdulillah, I think so far IPSIS have done a very good job. They have a lot of references. And the one thing that if you really want to graduate on time, or to understand all the processes, you must be well versed with this book. So this is called the Process and Procedures of Postgraduate Research Degree Program. And at present, we are looking at the April to 2020 with MCO 2020 amendments. So this is specific catering the PKP MCO. So, okay, and the content there, if you look at the content, there is all the procedures that you need to know. So you have to be well versed. Read it, read this, and try to understand all the procedures because it will help you in planning your work. Now, out of those, for us, for today specifically, there's one topic which is of interest, is a conversion from master's to doctoral program. The process, the procedures is clearly written there. So I think the only thing that we need to know at this moment is that the student must apply for conversion within 12 months from the commencement of students registration. For example, you registered last year in October or in September. That means before September this year, you should apply. So it's the date of application within that. Other than that, basically what you need to do, you will just, okay, I will show in detail, but this is just the outline. Basically what you need to do, you need to, when you submit your conversion, then the faculty will organize some sort like DRP, like a DRP, Defense of a Research Proposal, upgraded, to upgrade to PhD. So I guess that most of you have passed your DRP for your masters. Once you have passed your DRP for masters, then if you want to convert, you will have another DRP. Basically, the only thing different is that you will add a few scope, only a few scope. So basically, it's just that this is the main thing. You should apply within 12 months. Okay, before that, before we go into detail, the situation, let me just introduce to you the philosophy of PhD and novelty, so that you will have the idea. Okay, what is philosophy of PhD? Okay, basically when we talk about PhD, it's talking about thesis. Okay, thesis. We are talking about significant contribution. We are talking about discovery of new knowledge. We are talking about development of new theory, significant publications, novel finding, broad and depth. Okay, now you as a research student or you as a master student, when you do research, isn't it the same thing? Yes, basically it's the same thing. So when we do research, in my opinion, when we do research, either you're doing it for undergraduate or masters or PhD level, basically when you do research, this is all must, this will embed into that program. It must be, you must do this. You must write your dissertation or thesis, we call it thesis. And then you must have your contribution, you must have your publication. It's just that the level, the level. So when you do PhD, that means you are extending the level. Okay, for example, if you're doing for masters by research, the requirement is to publish one Scopus Index publication, journal. Now for PhD, you need to publish 2 before you can graduate. Okay, we'll see that later. So what is the meaning about novelty? Novelty. When we talk about novelty, basically it's just something about original, innovative, inventive, something new. So I think even in your masters, you have conducted something new. I am sure. Why? Because I don't think anyone would have repeated the same masters conducted by other students. There will be no same thesis. So there must be. So what you need to do is just that you need to look into your work and you need to highlight your novelty. Now, how to highlight your novelty? This is something, this is not written basically. This is something, the idea of professors, a few professors from the UK, to be specific, in the University of Sheffield, which we adapted. A few of us adapted. So basically, this is a level that easy for us, for the engineers, they like to quantify things. So easy for us to quantify. So the first one is the level of novelty is we're talking about new theory. If you come up with a new equation, new model, new theory, new equation, new model. So even if it's in science, or I think even in the social science, you're doing your research, the idea of your PhD is that you're going to come up something, a new theory or a new model. Even from your, for engineering, basically from their data, the data collection method, the analysis, then they will come up with a new model. If for engineering, I can say, for science, for example, you have the Newton's law, or Einstein come up with the E equals to mc squared. Okay, but I have seen, I have the opportunity to evaluate one student from UMK. His work is related to quality, SME. And then they are also talking about new theory, new model. I mean, from your survey, from your data collection method, from your survey, you can come up with a new theory. Okay, that's the highest level. So if you can show this, I think no one can dispute one. The lower level, for those who do not really like doing mathematics, maybe they come up with a new method or new tools, new product or new framework. This is the second level of novelty, but still, so you can see that there are tools. There are tools that they develop. The tools, and then you tested it, so to show that your tools is more efficient or more effective or better. It can produce a better something. So that is the kind of the second novelty. It can be just a new method or new algorithm of something. So this is the second level. And the lowest level of novelty basically is talking about furnish new data or to accept or reject existing theory. We're talking about data that you come up that, for example, today they have a new theory saying that COVID-19 can be airborne. Can be airborne, COVID-19. So maybe you do a research, you come up with new data that can reject that theory, saying no, based on our data, based on our research, it is not true that COVID-19 can be airborne. So that is the example of the novel of novelty. So what you need to do now is basically just look at your present proposal, your current proposal, and then you look at, you try to extract the novelty and highlight the novelty of your work based on this. This is one method. This is just one method I'm showing you. Now the level, now we talk about level, you're doing your master's, you're doing your PhD. Now in terms of your ITM requirement, to graduate master's, you have to publish at least one Scopus journal index, Scopus index journal paper. Now PhD at UITM, you need to publish 2 before you can graduate. But this is, I'm talking about the content. When we talk about the common standard, basically that is the content. Because why? There's if we we can refer to the program outcomes. They will tell you the standard of PhD, or sometimes people can use their own personal experience, from their respective PhD, whether they graduate from UK, they graduate from US, they will have their own different personal experience in benchmarking their PhD. And also you can benchmark to the international standard. So this is one that I'm referring to the international standard, but also later on you have to match that also with the UITM requirement. So who set the standard? Who set the standard? Basically, before Viva is the supervisor. So, and then after that, during the Viva, there is the role of the external examiners, the examiners. They will discuss and they will evaluate whether your thesis is up to the PhD standard or not, or the master standard. Other than that, this is while to me, when you are doing research, what you can do, you should not just focusing on graduating, but rather than that, you try to give your output, produce output as much as possible. Attend conferences, attend training. When you want to do paper, if you find difficulty, maybe you can go through use the service of English editor, or you can collaborate with Sifu, other professors from universities to collaborate to write papers. And I think so far UITM has support a lot. You can also, like my students, I encourage them to go for IP and then compete in an innovation award. So these are the example of outputs for my students. So whether it's masters or PhD, for example, masters here you have the HBRAC, you have this basic. This is come from this masters research. I'll encourage them to come up with their own logo, with their own product, and also IP. So each of one of them, they have their own identity when they graduate. So this is what been done. This is MOPSIL, MOPSIL 1 Masters also. Okay. Now, the main issues when you're doing your research, either you're doing your PhD or Master by Research, now it will be very lucky, it will be very good if you can be a hardworking student, and then you are a smart student who can study a lot of things by yourself, and then you have a good command in English. That means writing skill is not a problem to you, because I would say that generally, especially for SNT, this would be the main issue. Okay, so if you have this package, I think you can, it's possible for you to graduate on time, or you can easily graduate on time. Now, the issues and challenges basically for research student is to keep your motivation, to stay in focus and your commitment, especially in this COVID-19 situation, when you work from home. And then your time and pace. So you have to track down you monitor, track down your timeline so that you are on track. And if you are able to learn many of the things by yourself, that will be a plus point. Other than that, also you have to consider also the personal issues, solve your money problem, your family and health problem, and then you need to build up your confidence and entrepreneurial skill. So how to do that? You can attend conferences, you can attend to training, and also I think the main problem, as I mentioned earlier, is about writing. So if you have no problem with writing, inshallah, you will have a better journey, a better journey. Now the conversion to masters and PhD. So this is the situation, the normal situation. Student register for masters, and then to obtain masters. Student register for PhD to obtain PhD, and then there's now they have redeployed this again, this procedure, fast track. That means for the first class student, they can register direct to PhD. Now this is the possible situation, which I name it as opportunity. There are two. The first one is plan. So for in my case, both Azizul and Humaira, they were actually the first class graduate students. So at that time, they do not have this fast track punya procedure. They cannot do that. No. Before that they have, and then UiTM stopped that. So what they need to do, they need to register for masters first and then convert to PhD. And then I told them is that you graduated first class, why not? Why not you try to convert to PhD? So that your friend who graduated with 2.7, if you just do your masters, you graduate first class, he graduated 2.7, both of you graduate, both of you will have masters. So why not you be special? Okay. Even my son, I encourage to convert from masters to PhD after graduate. Now that is the plan. So the other opportunity is that based on DRP. Okay, you attended your DRP, and then the panel say, oh, your work is very good. There's a big potential for you to convert this to PhD. So this is the two possible situation. Any other situation due to time constraint, maybe we can discuss later, or you can ask maybe during the Q&A session. Now planning for APC, GOT and graduate, masters versus PhD, there is three different things here. First, we are talking that you want to graduate with APC, Anugerah Perkhidmatan Cemerlang, you need to submit less than 3 years. You want to graduate your PhD or masters, okay, GOT, then it's within time. So for PhD, it's within 4 years. Or you can just graduate like Dr. Azizul. He missed the 4 years, but he graduated more than 4 years, but still, he graduate. So, okay. So what you need, the first thing what you need to do is the mental preparation, because now you're doing masters and suddenly you want to convert into PhD. So your mental you must shift your paradigm from doing masters to doing PhD. Okay, lucky like in the case for Dr. Humaira and Dr. Azizul, they straight away started. Memang their intention to convert to PhD. So I already set their target in their mind to do PhD. But if not, for example, I have one current student now that she has the, I think she has the capability to convert. She has the things there. So now, okay, if she wants to convert to PhD, she needs to change the mental setting. And the good thing is that this is opportunity for lifetime achievement. So how bad do you want it? Do you really want it? By just enhancing knowledge and extending scope of research. It's not you're going to do something new. No. What you need to do is just you're going to enhance your knowledge before this. If like the current at present you have your knowledge which is suit for a master's level, and your scope of research suit for master level. Now you want to extend it, or you're going to extend it. Okay. So what do you need to do? Okay. First is just the proposal. The current proposal. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that you will apply it within 12 months. And then your current proposal, your master proposal, you just need to upgrade. So what you need to upgrade basically is the research objective. So you will have, in my case, we add one more research, that one more RO will suit to PhD. Or what you can do, you can rewrite the whole objective. Rephrase, not rewrite, you can rephrase. Because you already have your masters, now you want to highlight the objective for the PhD. And then other than that, due to when you add the objective, basically you need to highlight the research question, hypothesis, method, and also that RO, additional RO, you will need to come up with a new methodology. And then after that, you will be evaluated. This proposal will be evaluated. So I call it basically it's like PhD DRP. So you pass your masters DRP, now you have another DRP for conversion. They will look at basically your proposal, whether it will suit PhD or not. So if they are happy with the proposal, and then they will say yes, they recommend, and then later on, okay, the process passed to the faculty, and then they will bring it to the thesis. So you will got your letter of conversion. Now, it will be even better if you have your current achievement. For example, percentage of completion. So now, let's say that within 1 year, you have completed a lot. Then it is better. Then it's possible for you to convert. Okay. And how about current? If you have any conference or publication, that will be added point. And also your knowledge. Knowledge. Because we talk about, even for your masters, when you talk about your literature review, I think it will be the same. Literature will be the same. You're talking about the methodology, that's how you write your methodology. Is that just going to extend, put additional methodology, and the discussion basically is the same. It's just the level that you need to do basically is the knowledge and the scope of work. So other than that, you're going to have new duration of study. So for example, the normal duration for masters by research 2 years. So what will happen is that once you converted, successfully converted, your duration will be 3 years now. So what is passed, they taken into condition. So you will have additional 2 years for normal. For normal punya graduation, 3 years. So if you want to go for GOT, still 3 years, you will have 1 now, present, plus another 3 years. You can complete everything, you can got your GOT. Right. Now, other than that, funding for sustainability, okay, the tuition fees will increase a bit. The sponsorship also, like Dr. Humaira last time, she got the sponsorship just for the fee. My brain, she got first for her masters, and then she wrote to KPT, and then they upgrade that to my PhD, and then they still covered her tuition fees. And then also, other than that, to sustain the GRA allowance, or also for every semester you can apply UPTA. Okay, at the last part of this talk, I will just browse through other fundings that they can look at. Now for APC, so basically this is just it. You need to basically what in conclusion, if you want to convert, the first thing you need to set your mind, and then the other thing you need to think how to upgrade your work. That your work need to be upgraded. That's it. Okay, now if you planning for APC or GOT, we have the time and plan here. So this is for my students. I ask them, this is called, I call it as war plan. War plan. So they should have this, and it should be visible. It means that when they sit at the cube or now at home, they must paste it somewhere, tampal in your locker or in front of you, that you can see this time, because this is the important things that you need to fulfill in order for you to graduate. If we zoom for first year, let's say first year, so either you're doing for masters or PhD graduate, you're going to do your brief literature review between 1 to 3 months, and then you attend your IGS research skills seminar. For PhD, then they need to attend the TAI 2, and then for PhD you attend your DRP is within here. For masters, you will attend your DRP within the first semester, and then you will start to set. When are you going to convert? When are you going to convert here? Are you want to convert your PhD? So if you already plan you want to convert PhD, it should be within 12 months. So when do you plan to submit your application to convert? So at the month of 11, I think should be at the month of 11, and then the process they will take a few months. Or right after you pass your DRP for masters, this is also possible. So that is the things that you need to, and then you just prepare for your DRP for PhD. So this is the timeline. So start generating your result in first year. In first semester, start submitting papers to conferences, and then after that try to target in year 1. Submit your Scopus paper, and year 2 submit for ISI paper, and then for year 3 you can plan for your other publications. So this is for masters. Year 2 if for PhD, then when are you going to appoint your examiners? When are you going to start drafting your thesis? It should be in your 3rd year there. Okay, and if you're planning to APC, you submit your thesis before 36 months. Before 36 months. Okay, again I repeat the requirement to graduate. Basically, masters 1 Scopus Index Journal, PhD 2 Scopus Index Journal. That is the requirement to graduate. Okay, the content is just as I mentioned earlier it can be more, your content could be more, which possible for you to publish WOS or Q1 or Q2 after you graduate. That is possible. Right. Now, when we talk about when we discuss with a supervisor, okay, if you want, you should have the good grade fundamental. So the supervisor or you, when you discuss, try to discuss about the fundamentals. Ask about the fundamentals, and then ask about the understanding of how to conduct research. You must have a good understanding. Talking about research, when you talk about literature review, what are the important things about literature review? When you talk about methodology, what are the important things to write in the methodology? Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 4. And your understanding to graduate, as I mentioned just now, this is something you need to know. 1 publication or 2 Scopus publication. Now, you look at the overall progress of study. Gantt chart, that's why I said is very important. My war plan, this is very important. We will monitor based on this, the progress. And then the important thing is that student knows what to do next. Whether the SV also can ask. If you know what to do next, then it's no. That will be good for you. And other than that, during the discussion, talk about health, happiness, and other else. So the frequency, at the early stage, like semester 1, I would encourage weekly, at least weekly. And during the thesis writing also, towards the end, weekly. So the research progress depends. The research progress depends. If you can work independently very well, then it's up. You can discuss it at any time. Okay, so once registered, you must trust your CV and build the chemistry. Build the chemistry with your CV. I can say that all SV, sorry, not CV, SV, all supervisors want their students to graduate, and if possible, graduate on time, or APC or Excel. I can tell you that. So, so what you need to do, you trust your SV and build the chemistry. All right, so monitoring your progress, you must observe the timeline. We have the Gantt chart just now. And then the other thing that in my case, the chapter progress, I always ask the number of words, because at UiTM we have the minimum number of words. For example, for masters, SNT, 20,000 words, at least 20,000 words. For PhD, at least 30,000 words. I think for this social science more. So you can monitor by the number of words in the thesis. I also monitor my student in terms of number of references. So like PhD, they need to have 100. So during the RP, basically, they will the number is almost there, like 80 or 90. And then you need to have a regular discussion. It will be good if you have some sort of other writing, for example, logbook, or you have your diary or thesis update, and always discuss with all your supervisors. Now, how to grab the fundamental? Self-study, attend courses. You can even attend, my PhD student, I even ask them to attend the undergraduate courses. For example, now if we have easier online, so they will attend the courses. Okay, then can do explanation. You can help your SV to explain to the student, become UPTA, GRA, or just help to explain things to the student that will help you to grasp your fundamentals. Other than that, you can find the information from lecture notes, publication, videos. You need to train yourself to be resourceful. So where to find the references? Okay, this is one of the easy way lah. We have the easy access library UiTM. There's a lot of online publications, online materials there where you can download it from your home. Other than that, what you can do, you go networking. You join forum, for example, ResearchGate or iMechanica. If you look here, I joined iMechanica during when I did my PhD. So I post a problem there, and someone helps me. So this iMechanica actually is created by the Harvard University, by Harvard University. I joined that. I post one problem, and a few of them responded, and a few of them now become my good friend. They become my good friend now. Okay, so what you need to do is that try to communicate your work internationally. So you can join ResearchGate, you can join iMechanica, you can start post your problem or start discussion. Now, the planning. The planning. First, if you want to graduate on time or you want to make your life easy, you need to be meticulous. Try to do it right at the first time, because rework will be very painful. I like this quote. If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have to do it over? For example, you wrote your thesis, you submitted your thesis in 3 months, but then there's a lot of major correction. You need to do the correction for 1 year. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So try to be meticulous. And I always like this. Got this from Prof. Shad dulu. Our attitude determines our altitude. So check and check and check your work. So what I'm trying to tell here basically, okay, for the planning, okay, you plan your work, and then if you fail to plan, that means you plan to fail. And this is the thing. What you need to do, you do in our case, we do experimentation. In your case, maybe data collection. So when you do your data collection, you need to analyze. Once you analyze, you need to write. Write it straight away. Don't wait until a few months. You forget it. And for you to write, then you have to read again, and then you have to work. So if you ask me, a research student, when I became a research student, or if you ask me about research student, memang tak ada masa buat benda lain. There's no time for us to do anything else because we are so busy. We need time to write, we need time to collect data, we need time to analyze, we need time to read. So if one student say, suddenly he or she said, oh, I do not know what to do now, tak tahu nak buat apa, I think something is seriously wrong. Something is seriously wrong, because as postgraduate student, you should be busy all the time. Now for the planning also, brief literature review or feasibility study, it will take about 2 to 3 months, and then you start doing your work, collecting your data. If you need to interview, you start your interview. If you need to submit your survey, you start your survey, submit your survey, start collecting the data, your main work. So basically the work, I would say that master's is about 1 year only. PhD is about 2 years. The data collection and analysis, basically, if you do it right, you are very meticulous, you can complete that within 2 years for PhD and master's in 1 year. Okay, and then you do analyze data within 3 to 6 months, and then you write your thesis within 3 to 6 months. So if earlier you have published a lot of papers, you have write a lot of papers, that will be easy for you. You just expand it to become your thesis. So everything is possible to be done within 36 months. And of course, it's really good if you have attended a conferences that will support your work, that will support your scope of work. Okay, the attitude. So first year, what you need, you should be extra resourceful. Means do not depend too much on your SV. Try to find information. Try to contact other people. Try to discuss. and make decision fast. Do not wait. If it took you 1 month to produce your research objective, you can imagine, or I do not know whether you want to choose this or this. You have one decision. If you want to make it months to do that, I think so. Make decision fast, and once you make your decision fast, what to do, your objective, your all settled. Then what you need to do second year, just you implement, you work out your DRP, your research proposal. Be productive. Try to complete your work on time. So within the second year, yes, going to the third year, by right, you should have completed all the data that you intended to collect. And in the third year, you have to be analytical. Start asking whether your result, your analysis is right or wrong, and then start to be critical and start to be reporting. You will talk a lot more about your work to people. So this is the attitude I'm talking about that you should have. Okay, so this is the most important thing. You must love what you do. Okay, you must love what you do. You must love your research. If you do not like, it's going to be, it's going to be misery for you. So that is always the advice to my students. I say, why do you want to prolong your misery? So doing PhD or doing masters by research, some sort like misery. Why do you want to prolong it? So why not you just plan to graduate in time, PhD 3 years, then you complete. Now, if you're planning to become a lecturer, for example, you do your masters by research. Okay, it will take about 2 years. Then later on, you still have to do your PhD. I think the total duration will take about the earliest maybe about 6 years. 6 years. So if you convert, you can complete all that in 4 years. That will be very, very good. It will be great, right? So you must know what to do. This is most important. You set your nawaitu. Why do you do your PhD, masters? You must know what to do. This is very important so that you'll be very busy doing your work. But of course, you need to have the agreement with your supervisor, the scope of work. Okay, plan and work the plan with minimum supervision. Try to find things yourself. Know your boss, your supervisor, their working style. And then you must set your target, your milestone. And then start doing your experiment or start collecting your data as soon as possible, because then only you know your problem. And then you make your decision fast, tawakal, fast acting in problem. If you have any problem, make sure you solve that problem before the next meeting. And it will be good in engineering. We have the opportunity for us to do either computational, experimental, so that we start with the experiment, then we do the computer program. If we start with the computer program, then we can start writing. If you then you can switch work, and of course you need to doa a lot. Okay, this is something critical. If you do not know what you do not know or what you know, this is something critical. Okay, you do not know what you do not know, right? So this is critical. So make sure you know what you do not know in order for you to graduate your PhD. You don't have to know everything. It's just that you have to know what the things that needed for you to graduate. And do not wait. Wait. Your supervisor pergi Mekah sebulan. Wait, dia punya nak tunggu decision pada dia, wait. So don't wait. And then of course nowadays sidetrack. So this is one of my friend, Dr. Mofazal, advised me, use a dedicated computer. So the one when I did my PhD, I use a dedicated computer. So I only browse the internet when early morning, starting my work, browse, and then going back, I browse. In between, if I need to search the internet, I will go to the library. So now there's a lot of sidetrack. Ada TikTok, ada WhatsApp. So this is something. Be alert. Okay, do not wait to solve problem. Ni lagi nanti nak tanya supervisor dulu. And then this is something, the mentality at that time. No one graduate on time. But I think now there's already a lot of student, UiTM student lah. There's already dah ada orang yang graduate in time. So it's not impossible anymore. And also at last time tu kalau pergi faculty tu nak tunjuk muka kan. So don't do that, Don't do that. So what? Go to the faculty or you not go to faculty. Yang penting adalah you do your work. Okay, so what you need, the motivation, you need a peace of mind, your family and you. So if you have already have a family, right, and then good health, stress management. Yeah. So when I told my student to work hard, it doesn't mean that I told them clearly that bukan maksud saya you have to work 24 hours. No, but when you do your work, you focus. Other than that, like in the afternoon time, pergilah jogging, sports, or do whatever you like. Yeah? It doesn't mean that when you work hard, you work 24 hours. No, that is wrong. But when you work, you focus. Yeah? You focus. And then you need to enjoy your work. So how to motivate yourself? Think about the sacrifice of parents or family. Look at the success of your friends. Enjoy a little bit of daily success. Even for today, you managed to write one sentence of your thesis. Oh, today I managed to write my thesis, one sentence. So, walaupun sikit, that will motivate you. Bersyukur, bersyukur. And sometimes you feel you know more, though this make you do not know more. Yes, that is true. When you start reading, you see that you start to you start to like that you do not know a lot of things. That is good. That is normal. So if I give a paper to my student and say, okay, read this, and then he or she said that he understood everything, that will be something wrong. Because once you read something, it opens up to more things that you do not know. But you have to be selective if you want to graduate on time. But that is normal. So jangan risau. Bila baca-baca tak faham, jangan risau. That is normal. So appreciate new knowledge. You know better than anyone else. Okay, your supervisor remarks. This is kalau lavish lah dekat overseas. My supervisor always say, oh good. So that's what I'm trying to do with my students now. Bila dia bagi, oh great, well done. They give they submitted their proposal, okay, well done. But then bila komen proposal tu banyak, and then we start asking, sir, you said last time it was a great. Say the great or the good or well done is because you submitted the thesis to me. Tapi yang content pun kena betul jugalah. So if you have publications, even better. So opportunity loss just means that you have to realize that when you spend time here, for example, you attending this, you akan lost benda lain lah, the time. So that is normal lah. So we cannot grab everything. Dalam masa tu tak boleh nak banyak sangat benda yang kita buat. Bila kita buat satu, we will lose something. So that is something your mindset. Okay, so remember by conclusion, it's your thesis, it's your master's, your PhD. Try to solve your own problems, be independent. Of course, kalau tengok the program outcomes, kan, we do research or masters ni is to train you to conduct research independently. So when you graduate, actually you can conduct your research independently. If you can explore new topics, new research topics, new area. So publish a lot. So the publication will approve the novelty of your work. Sometimes when you send to a journal, you get good comments, and the comments could improve your thesis. And then if you have a lot of papers, then your paper too can be expanded into chapters, and it helps a lot in your viva. So if someone else asking about the paper, you can tell them that it has been published. So you know best your work. So just enjoy your work, and by extending the philosophy or the PhD ni, insyaAllah you will graduate. Okay, this is something that I shared with students. So if you're Muslim, or if you are a supervisor and your student is a Muslim, share to him ni. So semayang tahajud banyak-banyak, doa banyak-banyak, doa banyak-banyak lah for the Muslim. Even though that we work hard, we know that all this rezeki from Allah. Graduate PhD, graduate masters, all the good things actually from Allah lah. So that should be the belief of the Muslim lah. So kenalah solat duha, solat tahajud, mengaji banyak-banyak, doa banyak-banyak. Okay, now this is the source of funding. Okay, this is for student or for SV lah. Both of you can apply for research. There's a lot from Ministry of Education. You go to the RMC Center. Now we have the FRGS, TRGS, PRGS, LRGS, PPRN. So it's important to have a lot of money. So bila ada banyak duit, easier for you to conduct research. Because you need money also. You need money to pay student. You need money to attend conferences, to pay for English editor. And these are a few sources of funding yang boleh dapat daripada MOSTI. Okay. Other than that, also we have the local not local lah, UiTM fund, which we can apply. One is very related, is this grant initiative penyeliaan. So you have a student, or the student, a lecturer can apply for this to pay for the student MJRA lah, and then ni ada semua lah. Okay. Other than that, if go, this is new website. Okay, can apply also the grants like strategic partnership. Okay, the young lecturers, you can apply this. There's a yang latest hari tu yang kita ada adalah grant penyelidikan Maira. Grant penyelidikan Maira ni. So I can apply. Also now Science Fund Tet 1 and Tet 2. This is something that also the lecturers can apply. Now, if your lecturers have not applied, what you can do is that, dear students, help your supervisor to apply this. You help them. Say, tanya SV. Prof, have you applied this? Do you want to apply this? I can help you. I can help you. So once your SV is reached, kan nanti you pun dapat. You gain from it also. Dan nanti ada fund yang can be given to you also. Okay, ada portion for you. So help your supervisors to apply grants as much as possible. Then be meticulous. Help him to write a good grants. Check for him. Kadang-kadang SV ni sibuk sikit. So for publications funding, okay, kita ada dah. So do not worry, students. If you publish in a journal, it's a Scopus journal or Q1, Q2, your supervisor can help to claim for it. This is the latest punya ni service, the latest punya ni. Okay, if Q1, Q2, the lecturers can apply up to 5,000. Q3, Q4 up to 3,000. Scopus index up to 2,000. So now it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So you can apply this. You can write papers, and you can publish it, and your supervisor can claim that. Other than that, okay, for scholarship, if you are international student, there's a Malaysia International Student Scholarship. If you are really good student, you can apply also for HLAF. Before this, at the end of the year, in September, October, they will advertise. So I have the opportunity to become the panel for a few times. So inilah, but it's very, very competitive. And then also, if you are science, still ada kan, my brain science, my brain science ada for the science ni punya students, physics, mathematics, chemistry. Other than that, for every semester you can apply for OCTA assistance scheme, and then also if SIS has the conference support fund. So for masters can apply once, for PhD you can apply twice. For local conference up to 1,000, for international conference up to 1,500. And also if SIS has their own journal support fund, and this is nanti will be applied by student. So student, you can apply this. So let's say your supervisor pun ada grant or tak ada grant, then you can still you can publish a few papers there, which you can claim later on. Okay, this is latest thing. We have the UiTM Endowment Scholarship. Okay, there's open for postgraduate scholarship for Malaysian citizen, masters and PhD. So you this year, once just get ready for it. Once year, if the UiTM announced, then you can apply for it last year. Okay, so this is all the funding that you can apply lah kat situ. So, okay, I want to encore me repeat lah. We want to repeat the important things. We're talking about the conversion, and we're talking about APC. We're talking about conversion, we're talking about APC. So first, what you need to do is that you need to be meticulous. Be meticulous, insyaAllah. Your work become easier. You will less rework. Rework ni buang masa. Rework ni buang masa. And then this is very important. This is the book. You need to read it and be well versed of it. So conversion from masters to doctoral and other things as well. Syarat-syarat untuk menang award, APC award, syarat-syarat untuk menang GOT, and other than that, even ada anugerah Tuanku Chancellor, ATK, anugerah Tuanku Chancellor, ATCKC kan, for masters and PhD. Kalau tak silap saya, for the first prize tu you can even win RM8,000 RM8,000 dengan RM7,000. So the best student. So you can work hard, insyaAllah kalau ada rezeki you can win. Dia ada 4 pun anugerah di atas tu, selain daripada APC tu ada 4 lagi anugerah di atas universiti yang tinggi that you can apply for. Okay, this is ni lah your work kat situ. So just let me share with you one video je. This is one video work of my student. Oh, tapi share screen boleh sebab dia share screen kan. Okay, let's see whether you can see my screen kat sini. Alright. Macam ya. Boleh nampak tak? Boleh dengar tak bunyi dia? Okay, just let me share with you. Ada sound tak?
Yeah, Prof, we can hear. Now we cannot hear anything.
Oh, cannot. Dia sebab sekejap sekejap. Just let me for a while, sekejap. Tak apalah, nanti saya tunjuk yang last lah. But then saya habiskan dulu ni. Ataupun dah ada kat situ. Oh, nanti ada kat sini. Okay. So basically yang saya nak tunjuk itulah. So the slide tu saya habiskan slide ni dululah.
Okay.
Okay, so nanti kita tengok yang ni last video ni, ataupun you boleh tengok aje lah ni kat sini nanti ni. Kat sini. Then I think basically my presentation outline tu saya start dengan about myself, and then I try to make you clear about PhD punya filosofi, the PhD of philosophy kat situ, and then kat situ kita tengok tadi 3 we have APC, we have GOT, and then kita ada grad. Okay, and then we talk about master's conversion to PhD. Syarat dia tak banyak sangat syarat dia within 12 months. And then terus tengok syarat-syarat untuk graduate for PhD. And then I have shown you the timeline. Kalau nak nanti boleh minta saya pun, boleh contact saya, boleh nak. And then your planning lah tadi apa perlu buat. And then the funding. Okay. So Q&A ni takeaway. Takeaway ni basically apa yang saya minta kalau boleh. Kalau face to face, I go to each student tanya. What you can do now. Saya dah bercakap 1,000 of words. I've spoken 1,000 of words. So why not you type one word? One word that most yang catchy lah, yang boleh tingkap, boleh pick up. Just type one word into the chat room tu. One word je, satu perkataan je. Daripada banyak-banyak saya cakap tu, apa yang awak dah pick up? At least I know lah, you have taken something from my talk. One word je. And then this is my contact number. Feel free to contact me if you have further question. Situ. Apart from that, there's a lot also videos yang dah ada di YouTube uploaded by IPSIS. This is from me. Okay, you can Google YouTube, write down my name, and then itu sajalah. Okay, so saya try lah. Saya nak stop ni. What I'm going to do, saya akan stop sharing dulu. I'm going to stop sharing my screen sekejap sebab tadi saya lupa nak klik satu button tu untuk ni. Sekejap. Dia ada button to include computer sound. Okay, saya terlupa tadi. Alright, so now, okay, dah nampak ke screen saya masih lagi?
Yes, Prof, you can see.
Nampak, Prof.
Okay, now let's go to this balik. Okay, kita try. Dengar ke tidak? So I think itu yang saya nak tunjuk. And it's possible it's possible for you if you plan your work well, possible. Yang tadi tu nampak menarik itu basically is the presentation aja Basically it's not presentation. It's not that the work tu kan adalah hebat sangat kerja tu, tapi the way how you plan and then how you put up your work tu kat situ, that what's make it if you know what to highlight, insyaallah so I think that is what I want to share for the past 1 hour and 10 minutes. So now kita open up lah for dia punya Q&A session so I'm going to stop sharing my screen lah.
Okay, bro.
Okay.
Will you be able to share my screen?
Yes.
So thank you so much, Prof. Jamal. That was a very detailed and informative presentation indeed. I'm sure with so much information shared with us today, all of the participants might be anxious to ask questions to gain further clarity on the topics being discussed. So it looks like we have a few questions already in the chat box. But before that, Prof, I have one question to ask you, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, referring to the successful story of one of your PhD students, Dr. Humaira.
Yeah.
She was able to upgrade from master to PhD. And if I remember correctly, it was 2 months, right? Conversion from right after registration, she was successfully, converted or upgraded to PhD 2 months after registration. Am I right, Prof?
Pulang balik sebab dia terputus lah. Dia punya ni.
Okay, what I mean is, if I remember it correctly, just now I saw from the information that you presented, Dr. Myra, she was able to upgrade from master's to PhD within 2 months after registration. Am I correct?
Tak. Dia she submitted I think about 2 months before 1 year lah. Tak.
Submitted. What I mean is dia berjaya untuk conversion 2 months after registration.
From masters.
Yeah. When did she actually defended her proposal for conversion, Prof?
Sekejap Tak, sebab dia submit bulan. Okay, so she submitted tak juga, because she submitted before term, I think the 10th month.
Oh, the 10th month. Okay.
The 10th month.
So, but anyway, Prof, did you and Dr. Humaira start the work earlier before enrollment?
No, not actually, because she did her final year project with a different supervisor.
I see. Okay.
And then at that time I got, but I taught her in one of my class, special topic, mechanic on composite materials. And then I got a grant, so I offered students whoever wanted to do masters actually, because the grant is I applied for 3 years, but I offered masters actually. But then when we start discussing, then I saw that first tu lah kata she graduated first class, and then I start asking her lah, do you intend, do you have any intention tak convert to PhD? And then she said yes, and then we work from there lah. Situ.
Because I thought that you actually worked, prior to her registration. I mean, earlier. I mean, I thought the preparation was like before she registered with UiTM. Okay, Prof. I think perhaps I will pick a few questions from the chat box. The first question is from Dr. Iqmal Hisham. The question is it good to advise students who register for Master by Research to convert to PhD, especially if the student get first class degree? What is your advice? Is it better for the supervisor or should we let the student to decide herself whether they want to convert or not?
Yeah, we discussed, because the student by themselves, they won't really see the difference between master and PhD. Dia tak nampak what's the benefit. So my challenge was to Umaira and Azizul. Azizul and Umaira said, okay, both of you graduated first class. Okay. Now you are doing your masters, and your friend who graduated 2.7, CGPA, let's say CGPA 2.7, also doing masters. Now both of you graduate masters. You graduate masters, dia dapat graduate masters. So what is the specialty about your first class tu kan? Apa yang you boleh dapat tu? So why not you convert? You convert because I think so that you can. I think so you can. And after, okay, we start with masters lah macam biasa. We start with masters and then the progress tu, once we see the progress, itu yang bulan ke-10, bulan ke-11 tu we submit the application to convert tu. But we must also look at the, because at that time there's no written ni, but I learn it from the senior yang berjaya convert lah, student senior. Basically the idea is something like if you within 1 year, if let's say your masters has 3 objective, your masters has 3 objective, you completed 2 objective. Let's say you completed 70% lah, of your masters, then senang lah untuk you convert. What you need to do, you just add another punya 1 objective for your PhD, but then the work is there kan, mana dah buat. Tapi kalau nak convert pun, let's say you nak convert, even the student is first class, nak convert, let's say after 11 month pun, progress tak ada kan, progress tak ada. So macam mana nak convert kalau masters dia pun dia tak terurus? So I don't think maknanya PhD dia lagi susah nantilah. So that's why also we discuss throughout lah. We give like 1 year punya duration, tengok kan. So if they can perform, but then dia punya target still the same, because even for masters, to be honest, even for my masters, I target them, especially those doing full time, I target them to finish everything within 1.5 year, 3 semester. And I have success story juga student yang they can finish dia punya masters within 3 semesters. But of course lah kena pulun lah. My punya ni adalah tu something my itu adalah tagline tu adalah why do you want to prolong your misery? I tell the student, if you complete your PhD in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, the work scope mesti sama juga kan. Cuma if you graduate in 4 years, you dah relief dah. Kalau you 6 years, 6 tahun nak kena menanggung beban tu. For example, yesterday one of my master students submitted his punya final thesis, masters lah, final master thesis, hardbound, yang sign tu hardbound, untuk ready for hardbound lah, hantar tu. So I said, how do you feel now? Lega sangat prof kan, lega sangat. So I said, this one if you submitted earlier 6 months ago pun sama juga the feeling kan. So why do you want to prolong it unless like if you really have other problems lah. So it's worth it, pulun worth it. Now the one that I showed to you just now, okay, yang tadi tu, my master student, my master student, Auni. But of course the work tu started from FYP. Yes, she started her work with FYP. She started the work FYP, but then she registered only last year September. Now within a few months, dia dah buat benda tu semua, video kita masuk Oiko, and alhamdulillah we already got the news. Video tadi tu di Wiko Korea, World Innovation Championship Olympic Korea, kita dapat gold award dan kita dapat special award lagi. So, alhamdulillah lah kat situ. Kan. So I think so far my students agree with me lah. Saya tanya, dia akan cakap hard work pays off lah. Maknanya kalau kita kerja sungguh-sungguh, insya-Allah lah berbaloi insya-Allah berbaloi. So itulah Alright.
Okay, Prof, what's your comment? Sometimes the fault is not on the student, but the process itself. Kadang-kadang tu examiners dia baca lambat, for example. So what's your comment on that, Prof?
Now kalau kita tengok examiners, you mean the thesis examiners ke? DRP?
Yeah.
Okay, that one we go by duration. So if we go by duration, that's why kita kena plan tadi kan. We go by duration. Let's say for example like convert, you submit less than 12 months. So if the process takes longer, tak ada masalah sebab dia ikut date yang kita submit. So sama juga if you want to go for APC, you submit your thesis within before 36 months. That mean mungkin bulan ke 35 you submit. Of course nanti examiners akan ambil masa dia untuk rate. Tapi so far alhamdulillah lah. So far I think the practice now, kita dah tak ada dah yang viva sampai 6 bulan tak ada. The good practice now, okay, is that once the examiner got the thesis, dah ada date viva dah.
Yeah.
So they have to push themselves to complete that reading, and dia bagi pun logik lah 2 bulan kan, 2 bulan. So within 2 months tu patutnya examiners tu dah. So siap tak siap, you have to submit the report, you have to attend the viva. So that is a very good practice lah sekarang ni kalau saya nampak. So kurang isu lah dengan prolong punya evaluation, thesis evaluation period macam dulu-dulu tu, dah kurang dah. Okay.
Alright, Prof. So I'll pick another question from Anonymous. Is it necessary for us to have, is it necessary we have to do our DRP for master first before converting it?
Okay, this one we recently, I recently checked with IPSIS lah. I checked with IPSIS. So that is the practice now. That is the practice now. That is the practice now lah. So you have to pass your DRP. So make sure you punya DRP tu is before 1 year lah. So once you got your result for DRP, then you apply for conversion. So I would say, as yang saya faham sekarang, yes. So my student sekarang ni pun dia dah pass DRP, kalau dia nak convert, dia dah ready lah. Okay. Itu yang bagusnya when it says push the student to DRP in the first semester. That is a very good strategy, because from that DRP itself, kalau tiba-tiba tengok that work tu can be upgraded to PhD, then memang kita boleh recommend to the student lah whether he or she wants to convert to PhD or not. At the time lah.
Another question from Zulkarnain. Does novelty for new theory means a new framework have emerged in author study? Because my conceptual theory, I'm looking into other relevant theory that support my thought.
Yes, because okay, now novelty, I go back to the definition, is just like something new, something new. So let's say now, for example, you have 2 mathematical equation or 2 theories. You can combine them together. You can ambil this theory, match with this, and then you can produce a good result lah. Biasanya nak tengok good result lah kan. There's a good outcome of it. Then that combination though, that will be a new theory, right? That will be a new thing. So novelty ni just mean a new thing lah. So that one, itu yang masuk novelty paling tinggi tadi tu. That even novelty. But in many cases, even my PhD, I did not come up with a new equation, new theory, tak. But I come up with a new tools for data collection. New tools. So that is also considered as new. Novelty juga, because no one have done my way to collect that data, to that analysis. So if I think, I repeat, basically if you look at your objective, tengok balik your objective, even you're doing masters, you're doing PhD, or even I think even FYP pun sometimes, kan, none of you will repeat the same thesis with others, right? Mesti ada you add something kat situ. But the only thing now is that from the objective tu, you have to look deep into it. You need to highlight what is the actual novelty, what is the something new that you are proposing. Maybe it's a new, it can be a new algorithm. Orang kira contohnya 2x2x2, flow dia macam ni. And then you punya flow kira macam ni, but then the advantage about it is that it save time or save cost. So that is also considered as a novel. What you need to do macam tadi kan, yang kita buat video tadi, kita nak highlightkan dia supaya orang nampak kan. Sebenarnya yang basically what she did was, benda ni, proses ni dah ada. She just using a new material, combine kan. But then it become a new material because why? Because no one has combined this and this. So that is something yang kadang-kadang kita terlepas pandang, because when we talk about novelty ni, sometimes bila the word novelty tu really macam kata, oh novelty ni macam something like breakthrough nak ni kan. Tak juga. Novelty ni, if you go back to the definition, it's invented. The idea is that you as a researcher, right? You as a researcher, now you have your own idea. How you are going to incorporate your idea tu to make something better. Itu je. It's innovative lah, innovative. So it means you innovate something. So that is yang boleh dah dikira dah sebagai novelty tu kat situ.
Thank you, Prof.
Right.
Another question from Zulkarnain, Prof. Prof, from your slide, I saw at the timeline, activity participating in academic conference proceeding paper. That means candidate is presenting their work. But how do I present if my study is still half-baked?
Yeah, that is the good thing about conference. Conference ni, we do not publish very good result. Okay, that lagi satu ni, this is my advice. If you want to publish in a very good journal, make sure the part of the results has not been published before. Jadi what you need to do, that from conference tu, you have some work in CPCP tu, you publish that. It's related to your work, but it's not the main thing, because the main thing tu you dah reserve. You reserve that for your Q1 or Q2 paper or impactful paper lah, journal. You have a result. If you look at some conferences, even brief literature review, Now, we send a paper, dulu tu dia nak 5 pages. Can you imagine literature review 5 pages, what can you write? And it's a single column, but still accepted. So it doesn't matter. For conferences, you don't send your good results there actually. Not good result lah. Maksudnya not the best result lah. Best result tu reserve for good punya publication. It can be the progress. You can present the progress of your work as long as the conference organizer accept your paper and they are willing to publish it, kan? Publisher accept, then it's fine. In my case, even kalau nak senang for engineering, what we do, I ask them to do parametric study. Parametric study ni basically, you have one equation. Let's say maybe I try this. Okay, why not social science try this lah? You have one equation. You based on nature view, you have one theory, one equation. Mungkin ada kot kan? Parametric study means you fix satu parameter. You fix all other parameter. You vary one parameter at one time. You fix the others. And then dia akan plot trend kan, graph. Faham tak? Let's say COVID lah. Okay, let's say COVID. Kalau COVID ni punya ada equation, dia kata COVID ni effect dia apa? Ada 3, katakan airborne lah, air lah, penjarakan sosial. So what you need to do, fix yang 4 parameters tu. You fix yang 4 parameter, then you varykan satu parameters, you will have one curve. And then you fix yang ada, you varykan the second punya parameter pula, you tengok dia punya curve. So we'll have a few graphs kan. From that graph tu actually, that explains teori tadi tu. Macam mana dia punya prediction ke apa semua. So even that also can be published. Saya kalau tanya saya lah mungkin ada orang scholar tak setuju. Tapi saya kata everything is publishable. Sebab tu saya punya undergraduate pun publish. It's just the level. Even my FYP pun memang publish. Undergraduate, it's just the level. So kalau PhD level tu, you target lah publish yang tinggi-tinggi. So kalau yang undergraduate level tu, you publish lah dekat rendah-rendah. Awak bagi saya graph hari ni, any graph you give it to me, if you created your own data, we can publish. We can work together, we can publish. So means itulah dia. So don't worry about conferences. And then you submit, tapi kalau betul-betul conference tu strict, dia nak reject, dia reject lah kan. Tapi biasanya conferences ni dia jarang lah reject ni, pengalaman saya ni. Okay.
Alright, thank you Prof. Prof, another question from Safwan Hafizi. Do I need to complete all experiment and data to convert to PhD?
Okay. No, sebab what you need to do is that DRP pun kita proposal saja kan. So in term of conversion pun nanti, you just submit your proposal for PhD. That means tak semualah complete data tu kan. So what you presented actually the proposal. So 1 year tu nanti, okay, DRP1 you have your proposal of MSc, Masters. Okay, lulus, you nak convert. So will you come up with a new proposal, which I call it as basically, saya namakan dia lah your pre-PhD proposal, and then you defend. So once you pass your PhD proposal, you have that another 2 years, 3 years lah, 2 years study lah, or 3 years to complete all the data tu. So tak perlu complete data. Tapi of course lah, dah ada lah result masters tu yang dah generated juga. Bukan dah siap semua baru convert, tak ada. The process is that you must apply within 12 months. Masuk aja minggu ke-13, even your punya masters dah publish 3 Q1 pun, by regulation, dah tak boleh convert dah. So application is within 12 months, before 12 months lah. Alright.
Thank you, Prof. Prof, another question from Anonymous. Data collection may be halted during this pandemic, especially if your research involves KKM clinics. Patients from these clinics are also scared to join due to the high number of cases. What would be your advice to go around such situations?
This is ini kalau dalam talk saya yang lain is about your contingency plan lah. Your contingency plan even in my case of student, what we did that yang student yang tadi saya kata baru submit semalam tu, because he last buat dia punya eksperimen is until March last year. So after that dia tak boleh access pun eksperimen, ada eksperimen tak complete. So what we did that, we refine the scope of work. So kita tukarkan, kita gantikan yang data collection ni, kita gantikan dengan numerical lah basically. Numerical tu it can be statistical or anything else lah which you think yang boleh cover lah that work. And then masa Viva kita inform, during Viva we really inform the examiners, we said that we have changed the scope of research because of PKP and this is the new results semua, and alhamdulillah lah. Saya rasa panel faham, panel semua faham lah. So if that the case, for example satu case yang saya bagi, we wanted to use SEM, scanning electron microscope. The equipment tu available at the dentistry since tahun lepas, March 2020, start of PKP, kita tak boleh access machine tu. So can you imagine student saya tadi buat tu, kalau tak buat memang sampai hari ni kerja tak siap kan, duduk melengung je. So no, what we can do is that kita tukar scope and then covered and then kita send jugalah. So tak boleh nak tunggulah, maksud saya tak boleh tunggulah. You have to discuss with your supervisor, I think, what should be the best way lah, rather than waiting ni susah sikit lah. Maybe you need to adjust a bit, the scope of work tu kena divert lah. So during PKP ni saya recommend banyak kepada computational lah. So saya pun, myself pun, this last few months buat literature review pasal ni, I saw a lot of, for engineering ni kita tak biasa dengan statistik kita jarang sangat buat statistik. But then bila kita tengok banyak statistical tool, so what we can do is that instead of banyak kerja dekat lab sekarang ni, yang mana tak ada tu kita tutup, kita tukarkan jadikan statistical tool. So kita add kan jadi itulah, kita adjust kita punya scope of work. Alright.
Another option is for the students, they can actually apply for TG, tangguh pengajian. Yes. Actually the worst case scenario, like if nothing much that can be done during this pandemic. So that is another option, and it won't actually affect your duration of studying, meaning that you still have the possibility to actually achieve on time.
So boleh grade on time juga macam tu grade on time APC boleh
Ya, dia akan semester tangguh pengajian dan juga cuti kelas akan terkecuali daripada tempoh pengajian PhD atau master. Okay. But I would say that is actually the last resort lah. Okay.
Yalah. And that thing I would recommend lah, because last semester TG 2 kali tu memang habis untuk PKP je. Jadi kita masuk lagi. Jadi kalau sis boleh consider special TG lagi ke, boleh apply untuk special TG lagi, then would be better lah.
Okay. Akan saya sampaikan kepada pengurusan.
Okay.
Alright.
Moratorium.
We have a few more questions here, Prof.
Tu yang saya suka yang tu. Necessary at DRP masters tu no correction at all
Oh, is it necessary at the end of master DRP it must be written with no correction at all? Okay, so meaning that.
But that sebenarnya result DRP tu janji lulus saja you pass your DRP. So whether it's minor or one or two one no correction, two tu adalah minor correction. For your information, saya dah ada banyak student dah berbelas-belas dan grade banyak. None of my students so far DRP dapat 1. Tak ada. Tak ada. Memang semuanya ada ada correction, minor correction lah kan. So memang tak ada. Tapi itu pun target saya tak nak pressure dia orang. Sebab sometimes ada juga isu lain kan, perspektif issues. So it's okay minor correction tu is good enough. It's good.
Yeah. Because you need feedback from the experts. Okay.
Yeah.
As to improve your research. Okay, Prof, ada satu soalan daripada Anonymous. This is quite interesting to me. Salam Prof, thank you for your presentation. Based on your presentation, terutama pada sign merah, I think ada sign of macam red flag Prof. Based on the timeline tu, pelajar berasa agak kecil every time when I submit my work to the supervisor and he wants to make the supervisor proud. How to get rid of the red sign, the red flag sign?
Ini susah sikit nak cakap lah. It's like this lah. Okay in life ini saya share diri saya sendiri lah kan. Siapa yang boleh membuatkan kita bahagia ini benda lain this is topik lain lah. Siapa yang boleh membuat kita bahagia? It's actually diri kita sendiri diri kita sendiri. Nak dapatkan kata-kata pujian daripada bos ke daripada jarang, susah lah bukan tak ada tapi susah, dan sebenarnya kita jangan marah tu lah, kita yang happy. So if just now you said because setiap orang dia tak sama, so if you think that you have done good, but compared to others tu you masih tertinggal, even though you have done good, you should be proud of yourself lah make you happykan diri sendiri lah kan. Tak boleh nak harapkan sangat. Supervisor pun dia ada banyak kerja dia ni kan. Jadi memang kadang-kadang sukarlah nak dapatkan kata-kata pujian ke apa ke daripada supervisor tu, kadang susah. Tapi don't worry, saya tengah promote sebenarnya because I'm be talking about academic supervision. So pada yang baru-baru punya lecture saya promote yes, kita start lah. Kita kena puji-puji student kita ni, encourage them, motivate them kan. But don't worry if your work if your work not acknowledge daripada sesiapa pun, it doesn't matter. Baca buku-buku motivasi Kalau baca buku, saya baca buku apa? Saya baca siapa ni tulis buku pasal Lord of the Ring Tak silap saya Lord of the Ring J.R. Tolkien. Dia kata mula-mula buku dia tu Harry Potter saya terbaca. Mula-mula buku dia tu tak ada orang nak publish pun. Buku Harry Potter atau buku tu tak ada orang nak publish pun. Tak nak buku tu. Tiba-tiba sekarang benda tu meletup kan. So don't worry, if you have done something good, insyaAllah lah, if you don't see things good right now, maybe lah in the future tu. Tapi happy-happykan diri ambil air, minum-minum ni macam saya ni, tengok Dr. Lily happy kan. So kita work happily lah, kita happykan diri kita sendiri So itu dia. Sebab saya no comment lah dekat supervisor ni, dia masing-masing lah kan. Cuma saya kata tadi, once you dah buat dengan dia, that means awak dah ada ikatan kan. So you trust your supervisor, you must do not saya cakap terang, never dispute with your supervisor. Jangan gaduh dengan supervisor. Once gaduh dengan supervisor, your life will be difficult. Susah dah communication susah. So that's why dia punya ni kepada orang-orang yang kalau kata belum ni lagi, saya punya advice kepada orang yang pergi PhD selalunya, sebelum buat PhD, check dulu supervisor tu betul-betul. Check supervisor tu macam mana. Cari student dia, contact, tanya okey ke tak okey. Once dah tahu supervisor tu baru buat. Sebab once dah registered dengan dia, I mean awak kenalah kan. Awak kenalah bersabar ke apa dengan dia. Okey, tu style dia, tapi niat dia baik. Niat dia nak gerakkan awak, don't worry. Alright. Okay, jom kita happykan diri kita sendiri.
Ada one question ni berkenaan dengan publication. Berapakah budget yang diperlukan for us to actually publish journal? This is I think for the paid publication, paid journals ni, Prof. Do you actually go for that?
Okey lah. Dia ni kalau kategori SV ni ada dua Kalau dulu saya lah, saya ada panggil rich dad, poor dad, rich SV, poor SV kan. Maksud rich SV ni sebenarnya dia banyak grant tu je. Dia banyak grant. So bila dia banyak grant, dia boleh dulukan duit dia dulu. Even though kadang-kadang ada supervisor memang dulukan duit dia dulu. Okay, kita tengok yang claimable lah tadi. Claimable. So if you go for publication, kalau tengok yang IPSIS punya, dia kata basically up to 1,000 lah. 1,000 claimable. Bila kata claimable ni, jarang dapat duit dulu kena keluar duit dulu. So siapa nak keluar duit dulu ni? Siapa nak keluar duit dulu? Awak nak keluar duit dulu ke? SV nak keluar duit dulu ke? Now, saya cakap dengan awak, saya masuk WICO kita masuk WICO, the fees is 850 USD. The fees is 800 USD, and then tiba-tiba kita ada 5 orang kan dalam tu kan? 5 orang. So, one of my student, saya tanya siapa nak masuk. Dia kata dia nak masuk dan dia sanggup keluarkan bahagi sama rata. Student saya. So dia keluar, kita cah rendah sikit lah. So saya kata okay, you contribute 700. Saya kata ada duit ke? Ada. And he said that it's worth it. It's worth it. 700 tu dia ni. So that is the way. Kan? So mula-mula keluarkan duit, lepas tu yang claim tu kita claim lah. So kalaulah supervisor awak bermurah hati, dia nak dulukan duit dia dulukan duit dia lah. Kalau tak, kalau awak ada duit, awak pun kenalah ni. So yang saya kata tadi, basically 1,000. But then Q1, Q2 tadi up till 5,000 kan. Boleh claim up till 5,000. Tapi siapa nak dulukan duit 5,000 dulu tu? Ada tak sesiapa boleh keluar? So kalau ada orang boleh keluarkan 5,000 and then claim, no problem lah. Tapi kalau semua pun tak ada nak 5,000 tu, so better go for Q1, Q2 yang free. Sebenarnya Q1, Q2 ni yang memang prestige adalah yang free kalau perasan daripada Elsevier tu. Kalau macam bidang saya ni, materials and design, composite structures, generic biomechanics, itu yang free tu, itu yang reputable betul. So boleh go for free lah. So kita kena play around lah with duit yang kita ada ni kan. Tapi kalau awak sanggup, sebab saya cakap sanggup ni sebab dia ada banyak case, ada student yang memang ada banyak duit, ada yang kan. So tengok masing-masing ni situation lah. Alright. So I hope saya menjawablah soalan tu.
Alright, Prof.
Tapi memang kena ada tabung lah, kena tabung. Mana RA pun macam student saya pun saya bayar GRA, kadang-kadang saya bayar ada lebih. Okay, you master saya bagi 1,008 ni sebulan. But then ingat 300 ni you jangan belanja ni 300 ni kita simpan untuk something. So saya 1,500 ni je memang duit hangus untuk awak lah, duit belanja awak. 300 tu awak kena standby nanti. Paling tidak saya kata standby untuk proof editing nanti, thesis. Okay.
Perlu ada investment lah Prof ya sebagai pelajar.
Yes, betul.
Alright. Prof, another question from Anonymous. Is it compulsory to get first class degree to convert master to PhD?
Okay, ini tak lah. Sekarang ni tak. Tak lah sebab even now, first class degree, dia boleh fast track kan. Boleh terus daftar ke PhD sekarang ni. Baru saya ingat tahun lepas kot. So, tak semestinya. So, as long as you are master student, at any point, saya pernah tanya, pointer tak kisah. You register master, point 2.7 pun, suddenly you punya masters tu awesome, boleh convert, you are eligible to convert. Ini saya dah confirm hari tu dengan ISIS, for masters by research, tak tengok pointer dah, dia tengok awak punya DRP je and then you try submit, but then you proses lain tu you have to undergo lah, kena pass lah yang DRP, kena pass evaluation external examiner, then you dapat lah convert.
Prof, there's one actually question from Anonymous. It is really tedious job in finding gap of PhD study, especially in finding the unique combination between method, theory and constraint for our study. Brilliant and smart need less than a year, but for myself, I need at least a year or more. If so happen, my gap goes under high impact study. What's your view on this, Prof? To find the gap, the research gap for PhD study. Some students maybe need more time, and for some they're very lucky they are able to actually find the gap within 6 months or a year.
Okay, dia ada banyak situation. The first one is if the research, the idea of research comes from your SV sebenarnya, because your SV ni, if he or she in that field, dia dah tahu dah apa gap dia, because dia dah buat banyak bertahun research. I'm doing research in biomechanics, I'm doing research in composite material. If you ask me, I know apa yang trendy sekarang ni, apa yang orang tengok, apa yang gap. So in that sense sebenarnya your SV tu boleh help, boleh help dah to find the gap tu. So the student basically dia akan duduk kat situ, dia akan buat lecture review to prove that. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing, the idea to get is that you have to do basically systematic literature review. Kalau tak nak, is a new technique in doing systematic literature review. But saya pun tak pernah buat. Ini saya tengok aja. Tapi if you think it's too tedious to that, what you can do, you must come up with your punya synthesis table tu, synthesis matrix. So if you come up with a good synthesis matrix, first of course lah, you have, let's say you have like 100 papers kan, ataupun for your DRP maybe you going need about 80 papers PhD, 80 papers, 80 references. You do your matrix punya synthesis matrix tu, yang you tengok tu, from there memang you boleh nampak the gap you boleh visible the gap tu kat situ sebenarnya. Sebab saya pun memang bagi talk on thesis review and saya memang stress dekat synthesis matrix. So the synthesis matrix tu is a tool to help you to identify the gap. Now the problem is that you need to come up with 80 papers. 80 papers. Sebenarnya tak perlu pun sampai 2 tahun tak perlu. You can do that in 6 months basically, but of course lah yang dia concern time lah. That means you really sit down, let's say you sit down, like say if you have time, you sit down one week or 2 weeks, pergi dekat Science Direct tu ke tu, memang you masukkan key in semua, you download all the papers, you fill up in the punya kat situ dia punya synthesis matrix, insyaAllah you can find the gap there. The keyword is that kat situ kalau saya ajar topik tu adalah critical observation. You look at it, macam tadi yang saya katakan, you look at your research objective, you look at that, you boleh pick up novelty. So sama juga dengan research gap tu, you look at that, you punya table matrix tadi, you boleh nampak what is the gap. Cuma your PhD itu pun you terpulang lah, either you want to really to come up with a new theory ke tidak, kan? If you want to come up with a theory, then you should find the gap berkaitan teori. If you want to come up with a new tool saja, kan? You can come up with a new tool. For example, questionnaire kan. Saya tak pastilah ni, tapi saya rasa lah. There's a tools of assessing people using this tool. Maybe a set of questionnaire. And then you have another set of tool kat sini ni. In some way you can, bukan guna sebiji-sebiji in some way you can combine both. Combine both yang akan menghasil, yang boleh measure benda lain. That can also, to me lah, kalau kita ikut by paper punya definition, that can also become novelty, innovation, atau that can become a gap tu. Sebab biasanya novelty tu datang pada gap je, datang gap. So mungkin lah, cuma mungkin saya tak berapa, saya minta maaf lah, saya tak mahir pasal social sciences sangat. So mungkin in your case mungkin lebih susah lah nak nampak gap tu. Saya tak pasti. Saya tak pasti. Tapi sebenarnya definition of tu tadilah you produce something new yang orang tak pernah buat. Gap ni pula itu adalah hasil daripada gap. So daripada gap tadilah, hasil gap tu tadi orang tak pernah tengok benda ni So daripada synthesis matrix So balik pada synthesis matrix lah. Okay. Hope saya menjawab soalan lah. Kalau tak nanti ada nombor saya tu kita personal lah kita sama-sama lah. Alright. Okay.
Another question for anonymous as well. May I continue my PhD by using the title of my current master thesis?
What do you think? What do you think?
And he or she plan to expand the scope of the study.
Sebab kalau dah expand scope, basically title tu akan berubah lah. But do not worry so much about the title. Sebab title tu nanti sampai akhir thesis dah siap viva tu pun title tu akan berubah. Title tu akan berubah sehingga ke akhir. So basically what you are having now is basically the tentative title. Tapi kita boleh nampak lah kalau orang tu biasanya kita boleh tengok ini baca je tajuk, ini memang kita nampak ini master's level ni. Kan sebab tak nampak novelty dia kan. But then when you read this thesis, ini nampak novelty dia semua. Ini memang PhD thesis. So what I can advise you to do, even for my student pun, even saya dulu pun, before we come up with the thesis title, even before you write your thesis, kalau boleh, pergilah library UiTM tu, kan, ambil yang mana-mana, at least you look at 20 thesis, available thesis kat sana, masters punya group, PhD punya group, then you can have the idea. Yang saya buat dulu, saya pergi Cardiff University, PhD thesis, satu rak yang available kat Cardiff itu, saya tengok title, saya belik semua dalam, berapa publication, semua saya tengok. So that you will have a better idea apa yang title should be. Kan? Of course lah, you propose, nanti supervisor akan tolong lah. Supervisor akan tolong, don't worry Don't worry so much because you convert ke tak convert, mesti SV tolongnya kan. So don't worry, your SV will guide you, don't worry, insyaAllah. Okay.
Okay, Prof. I think we have covered all the questions here, all the important questions. I think we have come to the end of the Q&A session. Thank you so much for the thought-provoking questions, everyone, all the participants, and your response, Prof. Thank you so much. I'm sure that that has certainly added to the knowledge that we all gained from today's webinar. So before we wrap up today's webinar, Prof, we'd love to hear some last word from you.
Okay. So especially to the PhD masters and PhD students. Okay, first we talking about graduate on time. Graduate on time. So it's possible. It's possible to graduate on time. Even if you want to convert from masters to PhD pun graduate on time, it's also possible to graduate on time. Okay, while doing your masters and PhD, jangan fikir sangat nak grad. Jangan fikir sangat nak grad. What you want to do is the knowledge and to produce output as much as possible. Because saya bagi senario interview untuk jadi pensyarah dekat mechanical last year, terkejut saya, we have 24 candidates, semua ada PhD. So bila kita nak 2-3 PhD, apa lagi yang kita perlukan? We need to look at the outputs. So if you graduate dengan katakan UiTM nak 2, you pun buat 2, nanti kan bila you graduate pun tak boleh nak bersaing dengan, you can imagine now PhD graduate banyak ni, kita ni kalau cakap ni macam ramai kan, yang macam dekat sini macam susah-susah kan. Kita bandingkan universiti lain-lain, banyak PhD graduate, memang banyak sangat orang buat PhD sekarang ni. So we must be competitive. So the keywords adalah do your best. Do your best, let God do the rest. Do your best, let God do the rest. Doa banyak-banyak, insya-Allah kalau output awak banyak, kerja awak banyak, orang tengok, memang boleh nampak, insya-Allah boleh grad lah. And boleh grad on time pun, insya-Allah. Alright. The good thing about grad on time, nanti orang panggil awak pula bagi speaker kan? Nanti orang panggil awak bagi talk. So, one day nanti awak yang ganti saya lah. I will not be here forever kan? So one day you'll be the scholar yang bagi talk ni, insya-Allah. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Alright. Okay.
Alright, amazing. Thank you so much, Prof. Jamal, and thank you so much to all the participants for being here with us today. We really appreciate your time, and I hope that all the participants are able to grasp important key takeaways from this webinar. So just a little reminder, do check out IPSI's website and Facebook for our upcoming webinars. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and